what are you telling your clients are your sort of 5 main takeaways from what you've read so far?
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. Look, I think the first thing to say is that there's broad positivity, I think, that we've now got some clarity on the road ahead. I think that's probably the first point I would like to say, is that it's been a long time coming, and it's critical that the sector has some visibility of what the road ahead looks like. There's just been ongoing reform for so long. This has been broadly welcomed, I think. The shift to, as we've discussed with the exposure draft, to a human-centred and consumer-centred framework, I think has also been broadly really welcomed by people that I've been speaking to across the sector. I think there's general consensus that that approach is the right approach. I think a big exhale in terms of the reframing of the statutory duties. So I think most notably there, of course, is the removal of criminal penalty provisions. I think that's been something that many people have been really holding their breath about, in terms of sort of unintended consequences. The other thing for me, which I've raised with you before, Lauren, that I was really keen to see clarified in the drafting, was the removal of the strict liability offence in relation to those provisions. So I was really pleased to see the clarification in those provisions in relation to the statutory duties. And then thirdly, with the statutory duties, is the removal of the obligation on an RN, for example, in charge of a facility. So that's, again, I think, a really positive feature of the drafting in terms of the workforce challenges that providers are continuing to really struggle with. The devil is very much in the detail, and as is currently the case, a lot of that detail is contained in the subordinate legislation. So it is, of course, I say these things with a bit of guarded optimism, because I think that until we see that detail, there will still be some uncertainty in relation to how it will unfold. But I think, from the legal perspective, the criticality around the way in which those statutory duties were drafted was concerning. The compensation pathway obviously remains in there. There's a bit more clarity in there, but still, I think we just need to see the detail in the rules until we get further sort of detail around the way in which those compensation pathways will be enlivened.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything missing in the legislation that you're expecting to see?
Look, I didn't see, as I said, I think a lot of the detail will be in the rules, but things, we're looking at the moment, we're really closely focusing on tenure obligations in aged care. That's not something that's currently in the drafting. I think there's probably some nuancing yet to happen in relation to the role of supporters and representatives that we probably still want to see. But again, that's perhaps yet to come through in the rules.
And then finally, do you feel optimistic for the future now for aged care?
Look, I do. I think, as we've all heard, everyone saying it is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I feel really privileged to be on the journey with the sector as a legal advisor. I feel that the drafting, broadly is sound. I think that it really does move that focus to a rights-based, piece of legislation, which is exactly what it was intended to do. I think it creates better clarity. I think it provides the opportunity for some optimism by the sector in terms of investment in aged care, opportunities for providers to, and I'm sure Grant Corduroy's talked about this, but to look at, things around viability and to get some certainty and to move forward in their planning. It's been much anticipated. I do feel optimistic. It really prioritises high quality, safe care. It's grounded in a human rights focus, and it creates opportunities around home care, which I think is critically important as well.